Alright, so the thing here with the club head and release and all that shit is that you want to have your body doing a full or whole release, or whatever you call it, full release. That means that you will be able to release with everything you have in the downswing. So when you hit behind you, swing behind you here, and you swing behind you, you will come, when you come into impact zone, you will notice that the club head and the club shaft is actually, you can't control the release, because you will feel when you get down there, you just want to get way out there to the right of the toy line. But the thing here is when you hit the ball, you'll find that this club head is square, and the release will be pretty much devastating for the ball. That's funny, right? So when you get down here, you'll find this kind of what people call submarine release, or skipping a rock or skipping a stone. That will happen naturally, but it's not like this. It's not like when you do skipping a rock like that, because then you face the ball, then you face the left side. So you have to do this properly, you have to hit behind you all the way. It has to feel up behind you. When you get to the impact, it will feel like it's under you. So that's the thing when people talk about the release. Michael also talk about the release, that it's down, under, and up, right? So down means behind you, under means under. You will feel like it's under you, and up will be, after impact and all that stuff, and the club goes up here. That was Mike Olsen talking about. So what Mike Olsen was talking about was his own sensation he had inside the body, and how he perceived the action. So he perceived the action as, when he comes up here, like down. That's what this is, down for him. But for a more proper description of this is behind you, hit behind you. And when you hit behind you, and you have to, when you see my arms go like this, it's not this, it's actually this. Actually, it's actually upper body also in this. Because if you look at the micro, because I'm going to go down here behind me, and to do that, it's not just the arms go like this, it's actually this, skipping a rock stone, but it's still behind me. Because when I get the impact here down, it's up there. So if you go like this, straight down your arms, that's okay, but it won't be as powerful. You have to be a little bit careful with this, because when you do this, behind you, that's just the feeling you will have. When you have the feeling behind you, you will actually do this kind of action also. And make, so it's not the arms going like this, it's more like this. Because actually the hands go like this instead of this. Because they have a angling thing going on. So the angle, right an angle here, boom, behind me, and up. And when you practice this, do it in 50%, 70%, something like that. Because you have to find the timing and find the shaft when it releases in the club and when it releases itself. And you'll increase speed with this. And you'll find that your timing will be a little bit different, because you will have your body going out of the way, and then you go out of the way, and then what happens? This is why you see people do this kind of stuff. So you go higher, and your body goes a little bit left, so your upper body stays the same, and there's, you see my body doesn't move forward, it actually moves backward. Right? This moves here. That's what we call, as I talked to you about before, jump up action. That will happen also. The sensation I work with now is just behind me all the time. Because when I go behind me, that will happen. And I will feel like everything goes behind me all the way. And then it's just a question of finding your tempo, where you can hit the ball the way you want. And you will square up every time. And the thing here is with this kind of release and pattern, all that stuff, when you start to get it right, you can release all out if you want, because you won't have any compensation left. That's about the release, pretty much. Now, I don't practice micro moves. I just understand this is what the body does. And if I'm setting up like this as a modern swing, if I'm setting up like this like in a modern swing, right? I will have this kind of action. And there's no power there, because you can't get the body to do what it wants to do. And that's why you see in modern swing, people when they're swinging, they're coming like this. And the outside, and if you look back. In an Austin swing, what happens is you're setting up like you do. What happens when you get down there is you're actually able to release much more powerful, because you have a different position. It's easier to maintain in the downswing. And you will be able to come from more from the inside before the release happens. That's why people don't understand what Mike Olsen was doing, because he's so much from the inside, so he can stay back and let the body release the angles naturally. And then the club head will, you will add about 10 to 20 miles per hour just by that, when you get that right. But you're not adding more force, because you're coming from the inside, it will naturally be a higher release speed rate than normally. So you will add speed by that. When I was working with Hans, for example, in Umeå here, I was working with him to change his takeaway a little bit. So his takeaway was a little bit more like this instead of that. This instead of that. This instead of that. It's not much. This kind of angle, this kind of angle. You can't hardly see it in action, right? Here's the thing. I was helping him working with the release, not this one. So when you start to understand this downswing will, because once you start to hit behind you, you will see that your body stays in the same position, except that your left side moves out of the way. It's a very natural movement, because when you start hitting behind you, swinging behind you all the way, the body stays the same position and not like this, like the jump shots people do. And that's the magic of the downswing. You find a sensation in the downswing when you hit behind you. That will mean that your shoulder plane and the shoulders and the upper body, this kind of position will go like this and down. Like you're skipping a rock, right? The difference between skipping a rock and skipping a rock, you turn towards the target. You don't do that. You do it, if you swing behind you, the same action in skipping the rock happens, right? Skipping a rock, this happens. But in downswing, you're hitting behind you. That means this plane stays like this for much, much longer. You don't turn towards the ball with this part. The part below your waist and below your chest area, that's what's turned. I'm still hitting behind me. I'm seeing my body going down. Boom. That's when you get the tremendous speed factor. I'm hitting behind me. Boom. I haven't turned towards the ball yet. I haven't turned left yet in any way. I'm just waiting for myself, for the club head and the shaft to come into position, and then everything happens. And this will feel funny, because what you want to do, Larry, this is just for you, Larry, what you want to do is to get your upper body and the body, you come here, and you come a little bit here, and that means you must do this kind of release pattern, right? Because you have moved your upper body a little bit to the left, not much, and then you get a little bit to left, and you have to release a little bit early. So when you start to do this, behind you a little bit more, you actually have to wait. This arm action and shoulder action and on compression down will happen a bit first. That will happen first, and that means that you will stay more in the same position before this action happens. And that will happen, you turn up here, will happen much, much later. It will feel much later than it actually is. That's a perception of our, perceptions, brain. That we will perceive this kind of action. That I have to wait for this to happen much longer than it actually, is in reality. So I'm going up here and I'm going and I'm waiting for that because I'm swinging behind me now. And it's everything you do is like, okay, and there it comes. And I don't need to move forward. Like I've been doing that for about 20 years. Since I took up golf, I always wanted to do this. Come up here. And then I wanted to move here to swing this club. And that's felt like a natural action to do. But it's counterproductive in golf because then I move all my body and my impact pattern and hitting it short and wide and all that stuff. And that's why I've been spending a lot of time this last 4 years now to figure this out. So when you do this, come up here and hit behind you you will find that your shoulders going down and you're angling a little bit like this and you're waiting for the club to actually get in front of you, but if you'll feel under. And when it feels under, the release like this with hands will happen like that. Because you can't hold on to this. This will be a natural release, by the way. And you will have a speed increase. And you will I'm still swinging behind me, and I haven't even tried to turn to the ball. Because when I tried to hit behind me, I was staying in the same position, and all this stuff people talk about positioning with the body and all that good looking, all that will happen naturally. So it's not something you need to force or something. That will happen because you do a good swing based on your own natural tendencies. See what happens. That's the action you want to have. Now, and this will happen, you will have this kind of inside action in the shoulder area and all that stuff, elbow will happen, all that. So it's not down like this, it's more like this. Like that. But you don't need to do that. You need to understand that you need to hit behind you. Because when you go there, you're going to hit behind you. This will happen naturally. And when you do that, you're trying to hit behind you, you don't need to turn because you will feel when your elbows and arms start to get in position. And then your release will improve. And you can do that on the range. Because it's just about finding the position body has to be in. So you can judge the impact and ball trajectory to get that feedback. Because when you get behind you, swing behind you all the time, you will find a way when this is just, you understand that, oh, my body has to be here. And then you will kill the ball, like to say. 6th of January, should be winter, raining. Horrible weather. But hey, at least I can out here and talk about golf swing and stuff like that instead of do it indoors. That's boring. Much more fun to be outside. I'm hot now. I'm, get my heart pumping a little bit and talking about golf swing. Any questions? Let me know.